Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to more MDL action. We are getting ready to hop into our third series of the day. Now, remember, this is the last day of the group stages, and then we are going to be moving into playoff action, and then soon enough, it's going to be all over, and we're going to find out who is exactly going to get the biggest chunk of this $250,000. We have Team Secret versus MVP. This is a juicy one. To help bring in the action, it's going to be myself, KotLGuy. I'm going to be joined again, this time remotely from good buddy, happening way out in Hong Kong. Almost our on-site correspondence, if you will. It's Lumi. Hi, Lumi. How you doing?
5 seconds.
Oh, my God, Lumi, I did it again. I muted you. All right. Hello. Hi, Lumi. How you doing?
I'm good. We'll get used to it once in a while. I'm good here, and there's no perfect roll lag, so I'll be able to give you the Kala Teamfight recap analysis.
That's the best feature we have. That is the best production feature we certainly have, is you being there, because it's been a little laggy today, not going to lie. So we will be very appreciative of you being able to bring us the radio Dota if things do get out of hand. So, man, we got Secret versus MVP. Now, Lumi, we all know that this is now, you know, I don't know. Is this a bitter rivalry? Is this a friendly kind of a thing? We have former teammates that may or may not have been poached off one team, taken to another, squaring off against one another. This should be a good one.
Yeah, it really is. I'm super hyped for this. It's always nice to see old teammates going up against one another. But let's not forget that Team Secret is still captained by Puppy. He's still making the shot calls. And honestly, what is your outlook on Team Secret, judging from the first couple games that we've seen him play?
I've only got to tune into a little bit, but it's obvious that they're working on their sea legs, as are most of these teams, really. It seems like they definitely have some work to do. I don't know if it's something like, you know, having the valiant kind of hasty cores, working through like Arteezy's and such, and now balancing back and getting your like Forevs, and then you also have Midwan, who can almost be like a firecracker himself. I don't know. I don't know how Puppy can always do this to himself. He gets himself with a whole new team, and then he's got to be the man to kind of make it all work. And this just seems like, I'm not going to lie, Lumi, one of the biggest challenges he'll have before him. I don't know. I think naturally what most people think when they look at this team is they can't help but feel like it might be a little bit of a downgrade. I don't know. Is that too harsh to say?
I mean, I don't think Forev, MP, and Midwan are the superstars, the same superstars that, you know, the ones compared to the ones that left. But I think these players are definitely very talented. Moving over to the side of MVP, though, we casted the MVP game where they made amazing comebacks, where we both thought comebacks were not possible. So it's really going to be hard to call who is going to be the stronger team here. But if I have to cast a vote, I think I'm rooting for MVP. They have a pronounced strategy. They run every single game, and even when it doesn't work, they make it work. So looking forward to some high action Dota here.
Should be a good time. Let's go ahead and start to break down the draft before us, but I'm also going to try to squeeze in some fun little extra tidbits here. Like, did you know that every single 4 people out of 5 on MVP are named Kim? And we got 1 Lee. 4 Kims and 1 Lee. And also, because for some people who are tuning in and haven't been able to watch too much of the new MVP, obviously the roster has changed, but I do want to put focus on one of their new members here in Velo, and I'm sure you would agree with me, Lumi. He had a wonderful performance in the last series that we got to see yesterday in his off lane, and you know, he's a Korean who's coming out from Australia. But one thing that people really like to say about him is that apparently he was like the 3rd player to reach 7K on the Australian server, and apparently getting 7K on the Australian server is like a huge deal, because there's like never any 6K plus players. That means there's never any 6K plus games. So I guess being 7K in Australia is like a big thing to like boast about. So I don't know how much he would hold to that, Lumi, but hey, based on what we saw yesterday, this kid can play.
Yeah, he's the player that's definitely, you know, on and off depending on the game state. Sometimes, you know, firecracker, as you described Midwan, is probably the word I would describe Velo as well. There are games where he is super explosive, and then there are games where he's shut down in the off lane and then doesn't get to stretch his legs. But that's generally normal for most off lane players, because, you know, sometimes you just don't get that favorable matchup. You die once or twice and you have a tough time. Team Secret going for the kind of the AoE crowd control lineup definitely makes, you know, ganks hard to come by for MVP Phoenix. And MVP loves to employ it, you know, run at you strategies. They like the Timbersaws, they like the Spirit Breakers.
Yeah.
And generally that just clumps you up pretty easily for a good stomp, a good axe call. MVP's got to watch your positioning very much so this game.
Yeah. Surprised, though, no acknowledgement of the PA so far. I can't help but be tempted that that could be something that MVP look to creep into their game. Not looking to kind of show that hand just yet, though. So they will pump the brakes for now, and suddenly we have what has been neglected through this draft, a pickup of the Drow Ranger. I don't know. I mean, leading in with an Elder Titan and an Axe, I can't help but feel like that maybe Secret, like, oh, a Drow's still out there. Well, let's get the Drow and let's work around that. It does feel like it's a bit out of nowhere. All I know is that MVP don't seem to care about the Drow because they went into Kunkka right away. They knew that if it was going to be not grabbed, they wanted to get it for their Shadow Demon pairing.
Yeah, I mean, the PA, going back to what you mentioned earlier, I feel like Team Secret already has a couple of tools to deal with it. The Natural Order being probably the easiest way to remove all her physical armor. And yes, even though PA is a hero that could easily get onto Drow's face, you still have the backup of Elder Titan Axe to kind of bail her out. So I feel like Team Secret right now is working with a very well-rounded lineup. A lot of frontline tanks, a lot of mobility now with the Storm being picked up, and more importantly, a way to siege high ground. This is something that MVP, with their draft, always struggle with. They have these heroes like PA, Slark, Timbersaw, that could get you a lot of early game kills. Sure, that's great, but they can't knock down a tier 1 and tier 2 tower to save their life. So let's see if MVP is going to remedy their draft a little bit. So far, no. No tower pushers yet.
It doesn't help tower pushing. I'll definitely agree with that. It looks like they saw the Storm and like, well, let's get something for him. They had the Kunkka already, which isn't terrible. You have the X, which could certainly help rain on the parade of a Storm who's just trying to get the hell out. But now Silencer is really just kind of like, oh, great. A hard counter right there to Storm Spirit. Given you do have to play around that long cooldown, so you have to make sure that when you when you commit to it, it does count. And now it's like looking like this is going to be a Core Silencer, which at first you'd be like, that's a bit weird, but we actually watched Febby play Core Silencer yesterday too, right? Yeah, we did. And he did okay with it.
In fact, we watched MVP in all of the games yesterday win offensive lanes, offensive tri-lanes.
Yeah.
They would abandon it after, once a while, or after like a couple minutes if it doesn't work, but when it does work, you do shut down a couple of lanes quite easily. And Drow Ranger, I imagine, is a hero that you could easily shut down. I mean, she really wants level 6 before she takes off, right? Yeah. And we do have that Phantom Assassin, like you mentioned. We did see this matchup yesterday, the PA versus Storm mid, and Super Storm got absolutely defecated upon. I don't think there's a better word for it.
It was hard to watch. It was
really hard. Like, he got first blooded. There was no word to protect the Storm, so the PA got to Stifling Dagger for days without giving the Storm any wand charges. Ooh, okay.
That's fun.
This is an unfamiliar face.
That's a fun one. I don't mean to add on insult to injury to Super, but I gotta say, yesterday, I've never seen such a darker day for a player. Based on just like how that Storm game went, and then that Medusa game when he was stuck on the cliff, like, holy disrespect. That was rough. Oh my God. That was so rough. So, for the sake of Super, I hope he finds somewhere where he can get off the cliff and then bounce back into play. But here we are, MVP. Certainly nothing really has changed for them. They are MVP through and through. They have a play style that is going to come at you, and it seems like they're going to go for it, and they're just going to do it because they do it well. Now, can you do it against a team like Secret and under the Mighty Puppy? That is a different story in itself. I love that last pick Shadow Shaman. We don't get to see it too often. Normally in that place we would see the Pile Lion, who kind of almost fits that same profile, but it's obvious that Secret favor the hefty push. You got to draw a lineup, you're going to have to push. So I can't really fault him too much on that, but you're right. It's a pick we don't get to see often, and I always like to see Rasta Pasta.
Yeah, and especially on the dire side, you get to sneak that Roshan even easier now. Draw Ranger or lineups already are very capable of doing that, but you drop those Serpent Wards down there, Rosh is going to be done within seconds. So we shall see. Also, there's always a very interesting debate with Shaman. Do you go for the Blink first, or do you go for the Axe Scepter first? Different players in different games kind of prefer different things. I remember AEI 2000, when he played support back in the days, always went for Axe, just kind of optimizing that push strategy. We'll see what PyLi goes for this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough because obviously it's Pi, as we know. He's that hard kind of 5 position, or we'll trade it between him and Puppy a bit, but he's not notoriously known for being a very greedy farmer. I mean, Owie is. He can make farm happen on support all day, and so I'd be like, of course he's going to get all those kinds of items, but here, I don't know if he's going to be able to get that kind of farm, and it's going to be tough. And then when he does, you know, is the silence going to be too much of a problem for him? And do you have to start considering like a Yules or something on that nature? We'll have to wait and see what ends up happening here. MVP did try to do a like full 5-man, you know, swarm across the map, just invading a bit into secret territory. It did allow him to get a, you know, nice deep ward up here in the top lane, but I think they were hoping to get first blood, and they're going to come up a bit dry.
This is the exact same smoke movement they made yesterday to actually pick off Super Storm to give them that first blood. So, hoping luck strikes twice. Unfortunately, that will not be the case. Let's quickly check out on Storm's inventory. He did not start with that magic stick that you normally want to against the PA mid. I imagine that that's going to be one of his first item purchase out of the courier.
I mean, I say it all the time when I see this PA now. It's like a carnival game or something. Just throwing these daggers nonstop. It's ridiculous how efficient it is. I'd imagine now with the rise up as we do here nearby, a brief shackle play here. PyLi spots out Ryzen, and they start to see if they can maybe get some good hard knocks in right away. Obviously, Ryzen flirting around this mid lane a bit, I guess trying to assist the PA if necessary. But back on the note of the daggers, it's just when it costs so cheap and it's got such low cooldown. You can't help but, I mean, look at this. Mid 1 is just going to have to really reevaluate the situation a bit and step back, because it is tough to go into. I mean, with this PA support also becoming popular, I don't know if I would not be surprised if maybe there were adjustments made in the near future.
Well, I think the PA support thing, which by the way I did look it up and saw a video of it yesterday. I think people are still maybe not used to playing against PA. You definitely can actually play around it, especially if you build some early armor, pick up that magic wand. You should be a lot more resistant to the PA. But we'll see how exactly mid 1 plays against it. He's definitely doing a lot better than Super was yesterday. Yeah, still holding his own in the mid lane.
Let's scope out how things are breaking out here in the bottom lane as it's Ferev's Axe going toe-to-toe with the Timber. Now, both of these guys, Lumi, love situations where they have one-on-ones, and in particular, they both love situations on one-on-ones against melee heroes. Who gets the better of this one, though? Is it the Timber being able to utilize the extra bit of, you know, stat manipulation? Or I would imagine so.
I definitely think it's Timber, but hold that top lane. Looks like we're going to have a disruption starting up against Puppey. I don't think he'll die here. I say that, though. That's 2 stacks of poison. Make it 3 with a last word on top. He'll survive it, but he's going to have to pop that salve.
Yeah, lots of hard hitting. Very thankful to have a couple of charges there. Nice to have a wand just in this game in general against MVP. A lot of their heroes, not even just the Dagger of PA, have so much spam that you're going to get some serious mileage out of a wand. So I wouldn't be surprised if Secret begin to invest more and more into it here. But it doesn't look like they opt for it just yet, even on mid 1 Storm. He just got the bottle for now, so we'll kind of work with that in the meantime. But it's going to be hard to peel our eyes away from the top lane. There's full force up here from both fronts.
And it looks like it might start again here. Dubu with the Invisorin will swing around. But back to your question earlier about who's going to have the better lane bottom. I think they're both going to trade. There's definitely more killing potential on the Axe at the earlier levels. If you get a good ton and you know the RNG favors you, you can chop down Velo. But you can see he's already got a ton of regen with that reactive armor. And of course, Whirling Death against melee heroes is just no joke. Oh, Dubu's going to grab himself grab, and looks like he might be dead.
Nice little synergy setup right there. Silence will eventually come out. Nice 2-man torrent connection from Ryzen is going to be forcing PyLi back. Both Dubu and PyLi going to be very low. Will they trade each other? Puppey's going to be able to get a ridiculous range on that right click and get the finish there. PyLi is still alive and managing to just slither his way through. They ping him out now, but is this man going to be able to walk right through? He steps in and gets off the shock, and he's going to be able to get the kill. He will eventually drop, but at the 2-for-1 trade going for Secret. Ryzen, oh, we'll be able to make it out, man. That connection was just about there for Puppey. Secret get the better edge of that, just barely.
That was a really smart play by Puppey. On the very last exchange, he threw the Astral Spirit onto the little camp next to it, pulled it back, and as it hit the extra creeps in the fight, gave him that extra bit of damage. Almost got the secondary kill with the extra damage, but definitely ensured the first one quite easily.
So we go back. It looks like mid 1 is getting the better trades here. 21-5 to PA 17-1. He bottles up and is able to kind of snag up the bounty rune. We'll get back to the grind. What do we say about like either of these two heroes really coming online? I mean, we know for Storm, it's got to get level 6 at least. The Ball Lightning underway. Some like to kind of nurse it a bit further before they unleash their true potential. Some will go as far as waiting for the full Bloodstone to be online. What would be his interest in this? And then, you know, I guess the same could go for QO and his PA. Like, how long do you take time to farm, and how long before you get your hands dirty.
Well, for Kyo, he's going to fight whenever he sees the opportunity to do so. Doesn't matter what his level is, doesn't matter what his item is. And obviously for level 6 is a big part for him. Top lane though, looks like we're going to see yet another fight. Warren's going to fire things up. He's going to get himself grabbed up, and there's a great stomp. Dubu now in the front line eats a silence, will get punched down. They really are determined to get MP. MP shall go down to the poison and the curse. Yeah, maybe?
Yeah.
Poison?
Yeah.
Okay, finally.
He goes down. Puppy's also pretty low, but he's been able to kind of walk himself back. Oh, while that goes on, it looks like they've been able to find out our answer. Timbersaw gets the better end of this one and is going to be able to bring down the axe for Rev. Going to have to hit the deck. Velo's starting to poke at the tower a bit. He's going to really be on the up and up now and really push faster towards getting that Bloodstone timing.
Yeah, you know, all these games we see Timbersaw and he's really forced to go for things like Hood first, or sometimes that Lotus Orb first, even before finishing a Bloodstone, because there's just so many counters. I don't think there is that kind of issue that he has to deal with this game. Hold that thought top lane. Again, KotLGuy will get sacrificed here as MVP tri-lane. This is what they do every single game, and honestly, it's been pretty effective every single time we've seen it.
It's just one of those things, like, you could study up on MVP, and you'll know it's coming, but it's not until it's in front of your face you realize that maybe you're not truly prepared. MVP have just kind of horned in this kind of style and have done it so many times that they're just polished enough that if you want to counter it, you better be well-oiled and ready, and something that you might have been able to be practiced up on yourself. It's a tough time right now, and even now as MP will pull back and off to the jungle, I thought I was going to see MVP just roam in. It seems like they've been so well at kind of reading the map that while they recognize that there's really no one opposing this top lane, these supports can move out elsewhere. Mid lane, move in for QO. Jumps down the low ground to avoid the dunk, but it surely will follow as Forev will be able to make catch. Now he pulls off and away, but mid one says, I want to move on forward. Tries to make a jump for Dubu, even a second long commitment, bottling up, gets the right click. This man is going deep, but has he gone too far? Pull back from the exit to a torrent, but if there's nothing else to follow up, mid one just got away with serious murder.
Yeah, I didn't think he had that mana for that secondary long jump, but apparently he did, and Dubu also did not expect that from happening. So now I wonder if the support will leave top and Febby will rotate to the bottom to start farming it up. Febby, we haven't really talked about his skill build, but he doesn't go for that single point into glaive, which you imagine might be pretty good in just kind of harassing in a very static lane, but I guess this lane is nothing but static, right? It's just a ton of kills happening, and having more nukes, I imagine, is a little bit more helpful.
Yeah, I mean, I know as a support, and if you're zoning back as a silencer, there's nothing better than getting a point into your W. Getting that glaive with the pure damage is just, it's super sweet. But I suppose for him, it's like not even useful to him to go for the secured last hit on creeps. And I guess, as you said, there's just too much chaos to make use out of it. Forev is jumping into the chaos, though, and he quickly gets spotted out. Suddenly a wild bellow. It's like his following nightmare shows up from the bottom lane, and now he's looking to get into action, and he just tears him apart. This Timbersaw is going to get ready to hit a serious power peak soon, and that could be one of the scariest things. It's one of the funnest things to watch. As Timbersaw is just always a crowd pleaser, but it could be scary.
I think if MVP could choose one hero to kill in this game right now over and over, it would be the Axe. Because Axe is kind of Secret's weapon to cover this mid game. Like, he's the initiator. He's the one that's setting up Puppy's stomp. And without a very farm Axe, they're going to have a tough time killing this PA. Speaking of PA, going for the bottom rune right now, will get himself a rune and perhaps might go into Puppy.
This is like slow, torturous death. Yeah, he definitely sidestepped the stomp. Still even give it that extra little bit of a kiss of the dagger right there. No RNG for the crit on that one, but nonetheless gets the rune in the end. Top lane, they'll be able to secure a tier 1 with a very hardy push. This is a 3 range creep push. So I wonder how long they want to ride this wave right now, if they're just going to have to let it sail all the way to the secret side. But it looks like back into the grind. Forev is here at the bottom now. He can't afford to get costly in too many fights and lose too many times because he's got a blink dagger core he wants to meet. But here he finds a dunk. Quick execution of Dubu. There goes the global, though. Is Velo going to be looking to make chase? The wards are committed. They're going to help take down the tier 1. And KotLGuy is hoping to get them to fight under those wards, if possible. Velo's like, I could take the extra charges of armor, but I don't want to go that deep for it. So now we're in a bit of an awkward situation.
On top of who though? Like he's got 33 armor or something. He doesn't care. In fact, he's fighting 1v4 under the wards, and now the rest of the team is here. We do have the silence on mid one. They want KotLGuy in the background here. Here comes the call.
Oh.
Kyo is gonna get dumped. No, he magic wands up. He's now getting chased. He needs a little bit of help. He goes to the woods. He jukes around, and the battle hunger is gonna wear him down. He's gonna be the first one to go down. And now Velo trying to clean up mid one out of mana now, and that should be a very easy kill. Mid one will go down. And now Febby, it's just a raining down +2/+2. Forever's gonna try to TP out. There is no X, there is no stun. They'll make it out of here.
Wow, that could have actually ended up being what felt like a lot worse for Secret if they were enticed to stay in that position much longer. MVP were en route, but I guess it was pretty much all hands on deck at that point, trying to escort Forever and KotLGuy out to safety, but once QO kind of got in there and got in the action, things felt a bit awkward for MVP. Velo was kind of hunting up north, but didn't quite get a finish on a kill. And PA got kind of stuck on her own there in the side shop and away from her friend's top lane, though. She has found someone to play with, and that is Puppey. And it just slices him up, gets a nice little crit, and QO is quickly able to make up for that bottom lane trade.
Yeah, I mean, even though QO died there, he traded himself for a Storm, which arguably it's not a bad trade because PA could do quite a bit even without items. With Storm, you know, his prioritizing on that Bloodstone is going to be pretty much AFK for a while. I think you asked that question a little bit earlier. What kind of Storm are we going to see? Are we going to see a little bit more farming oriented one, or are we going to see a little bit more ganking one? I think he's going to be there for the kills, and then after the kills, he's going to go back to farm.
For now, hanging in this bottom lane. Got to be careful. There is Velo nearby, but no way to kind of catch and lock down mid-1 Storm, so there's really no kill opportunity there, and something they can casually trade blows with, but I will not expect to see any sort of finishing. So at the same moment, Secret smoke up. They want to get this Timbersaw takedown. Let's see what they can do with it. They have lots of lockdown. They have silence from MP. They got KotLGuy with the shackles. Velo's committing in hard with a Timber Chain. There's going to be the pull. This is going to be a for sure kill, but no! There's going to be the global. Allows him to make a getaway on the back of a TP, but no! The silence concludes! KotLGuy is able to get the Hex, but at this point that they're worried that reinforcements could be coming in soon, so they do not pursue for the Timbersaw kill, and they just pull off altogether.
Yep, global for a 4-man gank. Not a bad trade here for MVP, because that's a lot of time wasted on the Drow Ranger, as well as the Storm. Could have been farming. Febby in the mid lane. Gotta be somewhat careful. Again, the person they want to slow down as much as possible is Forev. That's really their point-blank initiation, and so far, Forev has, to me, been somewhat shut down. 2-1 and 2, got the solo death earlier, remember, against Velo. And MVP, despite not being the best pushing lineup, is really the one that's driving all the aggression in this game. They're the one that's trying their best to knock down towers.
Yep. And for poor Forev, you know, it's obvious he's the only like real tanky guy, the front liner for their team, so he can't even just go straight to the Blink Dagger. He needs to step off for the Vanguard so that he can be a little bit of an extra force. It will prolong things in the Blink Dagger department, but MVP doing all their best to make sure they can take advantage of that window where he is not scary at all. And Secret not really able at the moment to take advantage of another window, which is the cooldown of that global silence. They do have an invis on mid-1, but there doesn't seem to be any sort of kill potential nearby. It's getting to that period, though. The clock's a tick in. You have a Drow, and this isn't like a Drow Medusa lineup where you have that late-game insurance policy Drow lineup. This is a Drow lineup where it's like, we got to make sure we're, you know, doing work at 30 minutes, 35 minutes. We got to be hitting tier 2s. We got to be possibly inside their base, so the pressure's on Secret in the big picture.
Well, they have some late game insurance as well. Bottom lane looks like MP is going to try to pour himself out. No X available. Looks like they'll make it home safely. You do have the Shadow Shaman, so you have a very concentrated push, especially after winning these fights. So I don't think Secret need to really worry too much. One thing they have to be keeping an eye on is PA's item build. She's going for the same build that we saw her going yesterday. QO going for the Vanguard Desolator. Interesting to see him not having that casual Blightstone, just giving him the early oomph on the dagger hits. Really makes a difference on like, for example, versus KotLGuy. But the Vanguard makes him frontline much easier, and remember, with Vanguard plus Desolator, Kyo actually will be able to push quite easily.
For sure, and I could not agree more about the Blightstone thing. There's lots of value there to be had, but it looks like he has other ideas for now. Mid-1 with a deep commitment top lane. Looks like he's kind of taking himself out and back to the base, but he might need to be by his team's side soon. MVP have decided to roll into town, and they've spotted Puppey, but he seemed to be at the right place at the right time, able to kind of quickly sidestep that one. And Forev TP's into action now. One big fight for him could lead to his Blink Dagger. So he is all about that. And he has level 2 on the ulti. So a higher, better kill threshold to work with. Secret are feeling a bit antsy to kind of get the ball rolling onto something. Mid one's in town now, so this could be a big defining fight for either team. And the jump has been had. It looks like down and below they're going to be committing in with the wards, while nearby Forev is kind of going into town, into the ancient camp. I actually thought he was committing into the fight. Totally threw me off my game. Okay, here we go. Mid one. He will be the one to go in, but now just as fast, the global will come out to stop Secret's roll. Now Secret going to go for round 2. Waiting out the global now. And the tower is still standing. No wards anymore, though. Very awkward position. Forev has that blink. Uses it on Febby to pull him back in now. And the mid one's looking to clean up what he started. Can he get the commitment on the silencer and get the finish? He will, but he eats a purge. Walks forward and through a boat. Right clicks are there, but it's not going to be good enough. A 1-for-1 trade, and now comes in Forev with a quick dunk. Now they're going to get the pullback onto Dubu. Can they get another dunk? Yes, they can. It's going to be 2 for Forev. Lots of strong use out of that first Blink Dagger. Velo now back in action. Comes towards the tower. Shackles from KotLGuy. Now KotLGuy going to get jumped. QO looks to go for the finish there. Won't be able to get it as Velo gets the grab, but he's put to sleep. Can't be there for QO. QO turns around, goes on MP. Going to get the finish. He could lose his own life, and he will go down. Velo looking to make the last mark, but he gets stomped up, and he could be in trouble if they want to go for this. Oh my God, I don't think you do. Yeah, I don't think you do. He cuts hard. And
that's going to be dismissal after that fight. So team fight recap, please run us through. That was a 4-for-4 KotLGuy with a buyback and dieback, but they did kill the PA, and I do believe Axe came out alive throughout all that fight, despite being the kind of the initiator for the team. So talk about slowing down Forev. He is the net worth leader by a wide margin, and I honestly don't know where he's going to go next. That would really help out his role in this game, maybe Force Staff to kind of continue to pick off. He seems to be having mana issues as he is being the sole survivor in these long team fights. So maybe the Staff of Wizardry in the Force Staff will help out, or something even bigger like a Mystic Staff into a Shiva's Guard would go a long way as well against the Phantom Assassin.
We'll wait to see. Also curious in the itemization department is Puppy, who's been sitting on a lot of gold here. I assume he's might be going just for Yules, so saving up for completing out the Yules. Yules is typically very good on Elder Titan. It's great on this game because you are going against the Silencer after all. But for him to hold a lot of money there, okay, it looks like he spent a bit of it. What's on the way? And it is
a Staff
of Wizardry. So yeah, it could be a Veil. That's true.
Okay, never mind. Staff of Wizardry, like you pointed out.
Yeah. Okay.
I was saying, you see a lot of Veil on Elder Titans because they synergize so well with the natural order. Yeah. But I guess the team just doesn't have that much magic damage to take advantage of that. So, gonna go with the good old faithful Force Staff, Yules. You know, just good utility items. But I think as we saw Puppy in his fights in that last engagement, Elder Titan is probably actually one of the best heroes against MVP's playstyle. It just runs at you so hard. The clap gives you so much time to regroup and reset. And Natural Order also makes the quick kills against MVP that much more possible. I wonder if MVP will be banning this hero in Game 2, Game 3, because it's not only slowing down in team fights, but also making them get these kills much harder.
And, you know, for the reason I thought we were not going to be seeing a PA, well, what you said is that typically Elder Titan makes agility carries like this scream and melt because the armor reduction is just so much to deal with. But MVP continue to love to play these PA kind of heroes, and now they can pay the price for it. Dubu is going to be the man left behind, it looks like, after getting stomped up. He will quickly get chopped down thereafter. Forev picks up that one too. After a struggling start, Forev is now on a mega kill streak on his Axe.
I mean, we say he's struggling, but he died once in the lane.
That's true.
And then he got ganked another time, but he's okay. He's been recovering quite well. PA has the blur to kind of give herself the survivability, although that's not really being ranked up at the moment. Oh, the other very nice thing about Elder Titan against MVP's playstyle, which happened very early on, is MVP likes to run through the smokes quite early, but Elder Titan likes to scout with his spirit, right? Like sometimes your spirit just randomly runs to a smoke gank, and if you're paying attention to your spirit, it has an animation when it runs into people. And you'll definitely know when it comes back and gives you that big burst of speed as well as damage. And Puppy has actually detected 1 or 2 smoke ganks coming his way previously. So this hero is pretty bonkers against MVP.
Yeah, he's one of those heroes that seems to have a bit too much. Like a Swiss Army knife. Seems to have all the tools of the trade here to work with. And for his next tool, he's going for the Force Staff. I thought it could have been the Yules, but actually puts more favor in being able to kind of, you know, get the mobility, maybe kite around the PA a bit, get away from trouble, get his ally away from trouble. Interesting grab nonetheless, so we'll see how he's able to make strong use out of it. Lots of money coming together here for QO, so I guess he's just bum rushing straight for the Abyssal, flat out. I have not seen really any other PA do that. That is a QO thing, for sure.
I wonder if they Highlight Die throws down the ward mid lane, and the ward gets probably taken down, and Highlight Die also is going to get taken down. That's a lot of hate. Yeah. Highlight Die not only feeding his hero, but also his ward. Bottom lane Velo is going to get himself out of there. Easy peasy. But Storm is going to be jumping. Mid one's still jumping for more. He's got an Orchid build. He's not farming well, and he's going to die right here. Febby is going to get brought down by his former teammate. I say that though. Febby jukes around the trees. He does not have to. Yes, he does. Never mind. He's going to go on the axe. Max. Now, oh my god, the roll, yeah. Look at that here, and that's another series of +2 for the intelligent man, Febby.
Wow, that was beautifully done. If intentional or not from Velo there, coaxing in Secret to make that kind of a jump. Mid one moves in and then quickly realizes he might have made a bit of a mistake, getting caught out, getting silenced. They just turned the fight right back and around on Secret's head, and now they're moving in for the tier 1. MVP on the up and up right now, taking the net worth back in the game. Now there is still an advancement on this top lane here from Secret, but MVP just kind of making the best, because we don't always see them in these opportunities where they always get these blitzy, crazy little skirmishes, and then they're not able to follow up with big objectives, whether it's because they're in the bad spot or they don't have a team who could do it well. This time they seem to be doing a pretty nice job. They got another tier 2 down, so only tier 2 more outer towers stand for Secret. And then MVP can begin their slow, low ground siege. And that's great to have against Secret, who are in this Drow lineup. How effective will MPB win? He's 0-2-7, Lumi. Where's this Drow Ranger going to take off?
I don't know, but the Force Staff will keep her alive. Maybe when the Hurricane Pie comes up, it'll help out. I'm more curious about the mindset behind mid one's Orchid build. I mean, you generally see Bloodstone because they help you farm and propel you into the Orchid that much quicker, but as he's losing fight, especially when there's against a global silence, you could just go all in with your Orchid and then you just, you know, get globaled. QO really close to out enemies, but
he happened to be on the high ground there. The smoke popped, and Forev quickly tried to make a jump to catch who was there, and he did not make the right guess. Went too high into the ground, and that smoke opportunity is going to be gone for Secret. A jump in now. Forever looking to drag back Velo towards these wards. Pilot can follow it up with some Hex damage, but oh man, the Lotus Orb reflects back the Hex, back on the Pilot Die, and now he's going to shred through Forever. And here comes MVP. Puppy got to get the hell back. Running back under the tower right now, but Velo's not looking to let him go. Meanwhile, Melo looking to go into the back lines. Could get Febby here and will be able to take him out fast. Dubu's also going to be going down. Nice wraparound play from Secret, but Velo's making the bounce back play, cleaning up the mess that could have been left behind. Mid one will be able to make it out. Puppy's also good. MVP still get the better of this trade, though, as they did get the Forev core down.
Yeah, they got the more important heroes. They got the 2 cores. I mean, Febby, even though he's supposedly the #1 position, I think that the honor really goes to QO as well as Velo. Puppy's going to get himself a stop here, and honestly just need to get out Force Staff or whatnot. We'll Force Staff over the cliff, and he will be fine. Speaking of Storm not going for a farming item, you can see that QO is going back for a farming item. So they recognize that even though they can't break high ground, MVP could just take the lane game by completely out farming Team Secret. And these even fights, quote unquote even fights, is not really even. MVP are more often than not cleaning up roster wards on the way out, you know, getting a little bit of chip damage here and there, and you know, farming at the opposing jungle camps. So to me, MVP is taking over this game via net worth and not via kills, which is very different from their usual playstyle.
Definitely feels like that. Feels like they're like, okay guys, we got ourselves in a great spot. We're ahead of where Secret is, and now we have the items. We'll just farm, and we'll definitely out-farm them. And as long as we win the farming game, we're winning the game overall. Doesn't feel like MVP's playstyle, though, is the problem. Even though I know that should be probably the best thing they should do, and it seems like they're doing it, as mentioned, with the Battle Fury build-up, but it just doesn't feel like an MVP thing to do. So we'll see how through and through they'll be with it or not, because they still have that strong fighting potential. Velo is still a monster, man. This guy's top of the net worth right now. 7-0-3. Velo representing Australia right now. Playing this Timber. The man's a machine.
Meanwhile, rest of MP swinging through. They got global ready.
And they smoke up. They spot out Forev. That's the cue for the global. But Secret are in a pretty good spot, and they have these 4 staffs, which bunch them backing away. Forev, almost alive, will be going down. The wards are going to be drafted. It looks like Velo is trapped behind. Has a Lotus Orb, though, so it does reflect back the Hex again on the KotLGuy, but there will be a Timber Chain. He easily walks back out. MVP will settle with the 1 Forev takedown at the expense of a global and a smoke movement. And all the meanwhile, Mid-1 cutting the creeps and forcing him backing away.
You know, as we're watching this game unfold, it makes me feel that Shadow Shaman is definitely a very feast and famine hero. Like, if you're the one that's initiating the fights and you're the one that's dropping wards under the tower, you know, you win a fight, you take the tower. But KotLGuy, unfortunately, has to use these wards defensively. This is another set of ward drop behind a tier 2. It's going to time out and do nothing. At least it's not farmed by MVP. But he's really not able to do the things that Shadow Shaman wants to do. And even though he's really peppering the fight with a ton of disables, shackles, hexes, Secret can't actually kill people under those disables. So I feel like the Shaman pick has just not been utilized well.
Yeah, I mean, the whole lineup that Secret put together, unfortunately, hasn't been able to really blossom into what's supposed to be. You're hoping, yeah, you're on the offensive with your Shaman dropping wards, taking towers. You're hoping with your Drow, you're pushing forward. You're taking Roche, you're taking towers. But none of these things are really happening. They are, I will give them the benefit, they have been able to creep in here and there. You know, they got that tier 2 top, only 2 tier 2 stand, and technically they both have the same amount of towers taken down per side. It's just MVP are becoming way too farmed too fast that, you know, and with their lineup, it just feels like they naturally have just that much of a higher ceiling that if things just continue to progress as they are, and as long as MVP don't stub their toes or fall over themselves, they should be coasting into a Game 1 win.
Yeah. To be fair, if you look over to the net worth graph, it's not like MVP has the biggest lead. It's only about, you know, 2,000. Velo goes to the cliff where he put Super on yesterday. And now go away from it.
Just paying respects to Super as he now tags up with Forev here. Boat will fly on forward, and Forev again, like the 3rd fight straight. He's supposed to be the meat of their team, the tanky frontliner, and he just gets shredded all apart. Nice X callback right there, and they will just end the day of KotLGuy, and that should be good enough for them to move into the pit and take the Roche.
It seems like Global Silence just does not have answers, and that just goes back to all the item choices of going for 4 staffs instead of Yule Scepters. Maybe if Puppey could use himself and drop a big stomp, maybe could slow down MVP, but Forev probably needs that BKB to really be able to tank up in the front line. MVP will get themselves the Aegis, most likely will end up on QO because he's, I guess, the killable one, quote unquote. Although I think if Febby drops Global, nobody on the team will really die.
I would have to agree with you on that. PA walks away now with a 2nd life to work with, and MVP can control this neighborhood, take over. Probably going to look to grab some wards and make an advancement into Secret territory and just really not offer any opportunities to farm, because it becomes pretty obvious at this point, you know, Drow Ranger, where is she? If I don't see her in a lane, she's probably in the jungle farming somewhere. So if we take her out of that, we can pretty much smoke her out of the woods, just like ants or something, track her down and just take her off the map altogether. It's been a very quiet game for MP. I mean, when these chaotic fights break out and you have a Timber Saw just rushing it down, I can't blame her. You're lucky to get off the gust through the Global Silence, and you just have no answer as a Drow, with the exception of your Hurricane Pike. But the real Hurricane is the Storm right in front of you.
Yeah. And there's also Q jumping in your face too. So, yep. I mean, on paper, you know, you have these heroes that could protect you from the front, like, you know, the Axe, the Elder Titan, but the way that the game is unfolding, MVP just doesn't care about those heroes. They shred them down within seconds. Drow is next if you stay, you know. So it's somewhat tough here for Secret. They gotta have somehow farm themselves back in the game. They need some key items to win team fights. They need items to get rid of Silence, you know, BKBs, the shield, the Lotus Orb, as well as Yule's mid lane. They're going to try to get a kill on Q, but
that could have been a pretty good setup right there. Yeah, the Global, though, always is the combo breaker, and suddenly they're turning it right back onto mid-1. They'll take him out fast. I see where Secret were trying to go with that. They preemptively put down the Earth Splitter, and that's when mid-1 jumped in and pulled him back into it, but it just wasn't good enough. It unfortunately didn't all land, and because of that, MVP were able to turn it back in around once again with the mighty Global, the mighty R-Press of Febby. And here we go, back the way of MVP towards Secret side.
I mean, even if they got the kill, it was just an Aegis kill, right? So
yeah.
Now you're down ult, and QO is pushing the other way. Again, MVP doesn't have a good push, especially now without the Slater build. They're gonna hit these towers like wet noodles, but it's good enough.
Why not a Blightstone? Just a Blightstone, you know? Come on, QO.
His inventory's full, I guess.
Yeah, now it is. He's like, I got a big Blightstone called Aegis already, so I'll just work the immediate buyback. It has been a real rough later half of this game for Forev. And now is the time for Secret. Might be the all or nothing play as Mid1 makes the jump on in, looking to get the pullback. Velo pops his Lotus Orb, and that could be the end of that. With the Global in the mix, Secret really have not a candle to hold up. There will be the dunk, that will be the Aegis, but that might be all that Secret will be able to get in this one. We'll see though. Hopeful follow-up as a Gust will fly out, some Frost Arrows, but those wards go down and might be money, unfortunately. I don't know if this is working so well. Secret trying to hold though.
Yeah, they're holding pretty well here. QO now getting focused. He doesn't have the BKB, or he doesn't have the Aegis anymore. He will get taken down. Jubu's gonna get brought down. Velo now is being chased down as well. He needs to jump away. They do X up mid one. They're thinking about going back in. No Torn to set him up. Puppy's in the front line. He's silenced up. Velo thinks about it. He actually jumps back in, wants a kill, now jumps further into the base.
Holy crap.
And I do believe that will be the end of the fights. MVP, in standard MVP fashion, really overstaying their welcome. They lost their Aegis, they lost their Global, and honestly, that's all their defensive mechanism, and they still decided to stay. And even though Secret lost a tier 3, I think that's really the first fight they came out even / ahead. So MVP can't really let loose in this game. Should just play it strict and close things throughout.
Man, I don't know if it's Velo, whatever it is. I'm learning his name fast. It's the Velo show right now. 907 on his Timber. He's got 22 charges. He's got a Shiva's, Boots of Travel, Lotus or Bloodstone. It's nuts right now. And I even with just Gust Silence and the lockdown, and he has he got the Lotus Orb early to deal with it all. I don't know. I feel like I'm just like bragging out Velo right now, but unfortunately, it's just his time to shine, and the pressure still continues to be on Secret here. I don't know if it's them trying to contest any sort of future Roche, but MVP, as mentioned, could just kind of continue to play their disciplined kind of a game now and just slowly ease themselves into a game 1 win.
Well, if they play discipline, right? MVP likes to go die for kills. And going back to your point about Timbersaw, we see Timbersaw games like this once in a while if the other team is just not equipped to deal with it. You know, so often you see things like a ton of magic damage, like a Lina support to burst down him, or you see a Keeper of Light pickup just to mana leak him, and you really force Timbersaw to go for things like Hood first, you know, Lotus early. But this game, he got the 1v1 matchup. He got the solo kill. He got a Bloodstone first. You know, rarely see that happening anymore nowadays when teams are drafting well versus Timber. But, you know, you don't keep your eyes on Big V, and he is farming up everybody.
Really is. MVP obviously looking to possibly eyeball future Roche before kind of going for any sort of first initial move in. Now remember, they only able to take down that tier 3 here in the top lane, so there's still plenty of work ahead of them. The problem just continues to be, and the question continues to be, is just, you know, if Secret could hold out, like what are they actually going to be holding out for? Is there a round 2 of a Drow game with the Storm in it? But they have both not really been able to bring in a whole lot. It looks like they're trying to take steps there to prepare for a solid answer. I'm seeing, you know, we have the BKB on mid 1, still at 9 seconds, which will help out. Looks like Drow has plenty of ways to kind of dodge trouble. I mean, obviously with the Hurricane Pike and Shadowblade now. But these all look like more defensive ways to kind of avoid trouble or stay alive, not anything to be more progressive.
I think if Drow gets to farm up to MKB, they stand a very good shot at winning fights, because MKB will allow you to go through the PA fairly easily. Keep in mind that QO is not working with any base armor in these fights, right? With the natural order intact. So now if he's not working with armor and evasion, the rest of Secret will shred through that PA quite easily. Also, the MKB procs gives you a good burst of magic damage, which it's one way to deal against Velo, you know, when he's at 40-something armor in these fights. Oh god, I don't know how he saw MP, but MP, I want that to get the hell out of there.
As that breaks out, everyone else makes chase that direction now. And suddenly Secret could get caught off here. So Puppy quickly tries to go for the TV to make it out. And oh man, just avoids getting X'd up. Oh no, he did get X'd up. He did get pulled back. Puppy's gone. Here comes MVP now. Man, the range on that X is so good. I can't believe he actually got that one off in time. That's 2 down
already. It also helps
already.
when you have a Blink Dagger to extend it too.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, MVP ruthless in getting their catch play right now. Almost fought the courier on the way down. That's a Soul Booster too.
They also got Forever on the back line with QO jumping on and applying that Abyssal Blade. Gonna see yet another buyback coming out. QO will lead the creeps into the base and walk top, starting to focus on the melee one. Perhaps the ranged one's a little bit easier to kick down. Hold that thought here. Puppy.
QO almost 2-shots him. Pops his BKB, looks to go in, gets the Abyssal off too. You take away my teammates? I give you an Abyssal to the face. Disrespect coming out from QO right there. This will help secure their mid set of racks here in the top lane. And there still continues to be really no answer for Secret. Could already be game planning for game 2, but this has been MVP show right now. Mid one looking to push out the mid lane, but so they can't easily just move in for a secondary push.
Secret's playing the lane game, but I don't think MVP cares. And they're moving at you as a big death ball, lane or no lane. How high do you think the Bloodstone charge will go this game? I think that's more of an interesting debate than...
I would love to see 30. That'd be a nice little number.
Okay, they got a kill here on the bottom. The Silver Edge breaking up the evasion here. But will MP make it out alive? He's X'd up, he's torn up.
Hold back, knocked up, and will quickly pay the price for getting the jump on the QO. The rest of Secret were en route, but now spotted on the way out. And Bello looks to make his move. Jumping on to invoke him, and even Ryzen admirably blinking into that one. Now they are going to be able to get the disruptor knob to help it out. That will be the end of Forev, and the rest of Secret just hurtle in, trying to go for Roche, trying to find a safe place to hide, but I don't think it's going to be happening. Mid one makes it to the high ground. So does KotLGuy somehow. Whoa! Goes straight up to heaven or something. I think KotLGuy went to heaven right there. What was that? He flew up somewhere. That was crazy. 3 down from Secret. That was nuts.
We're at 26 Bloodstone charge. KotLGuy goes to heaven a lot, it seems.
That was crazy.
He's a good boy. His wards are doing Roche. Even Roche are farming up the wards. There's no rest here for KotLGuy.
Careful. Soon he'll have more net worth than Dubu. So, we'll see.
He actually still has more net worth than Dubu. How's that happening? Dubu playing the super sacrificial role.
Yeah, pretty much only got his farm probably from all the towers that went down. That's about it. Pings are out, man. They even have eyes on where mid one is right now, and look who's waiting for him. Getting close to that 30 charges.
Vela's got a Hex. This Storm is dead, right?
Oh my god, he is 6-slotted. Oh, there's the Sheepas, there's the Hex, there's the Shock. He's like just waiting for him to go right near the tree. Unfortunately though, not enough bursts, and without a silence or additional lockdown, Minimal will eventually be able to make the jump out, but he sent him packing real quick.
Velo wanted to wait for more backup because he recognized he doesn't have enough bursts, as we have the Elder Titan come in with a Stomp. But he walked into a Remnant, which gave away that there's an Invis unit nearby. So he decided that he had to go there or the Storm would jump away. But MVP now deciding to take the Roshan. Here comes the Axe Haul. Okay.
And so unfortunately between all of them, and that is just going to be quickly, Forev's falling. Now they get a nice time splitter off, but MVP are persistent to make it go and be able to get the finish on the Roshan. That will be a grab by QO, a jump and a crit, looking to go for mid one. Can he get him down? Mid one on the back of his BKB jumping out, but he runs some more trouble. He is able to make it to the secret shop, but he's out of mana now, and Velo the machine is on the hunt. Dagger will connect, which slows him. Mid one is just going to have to commit suicide now. Man. MVP get the Roche, get their Aegis, and now soon to be getting the win with that extra life. There has to be no way they can stop him now. Drow does have a buyback, but that is about it. There is wards up 2.
We're at 29 now on Timbersaw. And, well, KotLGuy answers us by getting the Blink Dagger. I was wondering what kind of shaman he'll be.
Okay, so we found out now.
I don't think any item he'll pick up right now would help, honestly speaking.
MVP will do their best to casually right-click down this Tier 3 as they wait to see what Secret's response will be here. And it doesn't look like they'll have much to say in the matter. This is going to be the second set of racks down now. And remember, the loser is going to be stuck in a very awkward lower playoff spot. As Min1 makes a valiant jump, hopes to go for his easiest pick into the Kunkka. Will be able to get it. Looks for the follow-up into Febby, but Velo's here now, and both him and Febby will be able to get the finish. Velo still continues his unscratched record. 14-0 and 12, 31 charges. Better make it 32.
Oh, he might die!
But he might finally die. He gets the suicide off. Sorry, Velo, you are a noob. You are a noob. You die. Nonetheless, though, it looks like it could be in the bag soon enough as QO and Velo already back in action with his ridiculously high stack Bloodstone as they clean up the rest. An ultra kill for QO. And that will do it. Velo's beyond godlike because it was a suicide, and that is 37-19, MVP's game.
All right, back into the draft. Can't give them Timber. Can't give them PPA. You know, make them do with a different hero. Yesterday we saw when Xiao 8 banned out the QO heroes. QO was really forced to play things like Tinker and Naga. To me, those are the heroes that's not really within his comfort zone, or at least not as comfortable as PA and Slark and Timber are. So I think the draft really will have a lot to say about Game 2 and perhaps even Game 3.
I mean, that was a splendid performance by MVP, and yeah, just kind of how MVP kind of situated themselves, unfortunately, for the laning phase. And you'd think that just based on draft, that surely this one will be good enough to take down MVP. They have the Elder Titan. They have a way to melt through the agility, carry the PA that we always know we'll expect to see from MVP, but it was rough. And even the Silencer just continues to be a bit of a cripple. Silencer has really been a hero of the day, so we'll see if that is going to be a continuing trend or not. Folks, that is just game number 1 of Secret versus MVP. We're going to cut to a small break, and when we come back, it'll be game 2 with myself, KotLGuy, and Lumi. We'll see you soon.